What an absolute disappointment. What an absolute disgrace. I'm looking at these STD numbers, and I am very disappointed with us. US sees STD numbers rise for fifth straight year. We have a 5-year upward trend. That is unacceptable. That's just unacceptable. 1.7 million chlamydia cases. And these are just reported. I'm sitting here shaking my head. I don't know what to I don't know what to tell you. This is Let me just get into the article. The number of STDs in the U.S. has continued to rise for the fifth straight year, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, with officials pointing to drug use, decreased condom use, and reduced access to health services as just a few reasons behind the spread. I'm going to say this. You know, this generation today, I think I said this yesterday. We are the most educated generation that has ever lived. But we are the most stupid. The reason I say that is because there are a lot of things that we know. Here's the definition of stupid. Stupid is when you know, but you do it anyway. You know something is wrong, but you do it anyway. That's stupidity. Decreased condom use. Here's the thing. You guys know how I am concerning premarital sex. You guys know how I am on that stance. But I'm going to say this. I can be objective here. If you're going to do it, just be safe. I can't, it's like I'm giving a sex ed class. So here are signs and risk factors. This is from Revere Health. A basic knowledge about the risks of STDs and their simple signs can go a long way. There are several factors that may increase your likelihood of exposure to an STD. Unprotected sex, both through vaginal and or anal penetration. History of STDs, multiple sexual partners. Each additional partner increases your risk of an STD. Injecting drugs. Needles can spread some of the most severe STD infections like hepatitis and HIV. Forced intercourse. Victims of rape or sexual assault are at higher risk of STDs, which is part of the reason why immediate reporting and treatment is vital in these cases. Alcohol, and that's another thing. Where when I say, okay, if you were sexually assaulted or you were raped or something like that, go to the police and, go to the hospital, get taken care of, just not just for the criminal reasons, not just for the law and stuff like that, but for your own good. I lost my place. Where am I? Alcohol or drugs. Substance abuse doesn't directly lead to higher STD risk, except cases involving needles, but it causes lapses in judgment, and these can lead to the sorts of behaviors associated with STD risk. I'm just going to say this. I said this in an episode. I think I said this in the episode before I talked about this in the episode before I came up here to Sacramento over this summer. Alcohol lowers your inhibitions. When you can't reason as well. alcohol, drugs, and alcohol and drugs and sex, they don't go together. Here's my thing. This is just me. If I were to engage in premarital sex, I would just have a rule. I would have a rule where it's like, if I'm with a girl and she's drinking, I'm not going to let anything sexual happen. She may want to, but I have to keep in mind, okay, she's intoxicated. She's not thinking clearly. She's not reasoning as well as she could. And here's the thing. The problem is you get, if one person is drunk, or one person, I'll just say inhibitions are lowered. Let's say one person's inhibitions are lowered. Then it's like, okay, the other person has to be the adult in terms of a sexual thing here and just say, okay, we're not going to do it. But then you have a problem when you have two people, when you have both parties that are drunk or intoxicated, their inhibitions are lowered. They're on drugs. They're just not thinking and they're not being reasonable. That's where you have danger, because you're simply not thinking. You can't think as well. I personally would just have a rule. I'm not going to, if she's drinking, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. It's that simple. Yeah, she's hot. Yeah, she's, looking really good. But it's just like, you know what? She's just not thinking clearly. Erectile dysfunction. Men who use drugs to combat erectile dysfunction have a higher rate of STD transmission. Pregnancy. Conditions like chlamydia, HIV, gonorrhea, and syphilis can be passed from mother to child during either pregnancy or delivery. So many of these things can be protected. Can be prevented. Unprotected sex is like the main thing. Does sex feel good? Yes, it does. It's supposed to feel good. But we have to here's the thing. You got to prioritize health over a few minutes of pleasure. I like to say this. Don't sacrifice years for a couple hours of pleasure. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. I look at this and I will say this is also kind of a problem. You have people who will lie about their body count. They'll say, oh, I've only had one or two. But it's like they may have had more. And it's really just not a good idea. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this again. God gave us free will, so you can do what you want. If you're going to go about having fun, just be safe. I may be sounding like a mom right now, but it's terrific advice. You can have fun. Just go about it the right way and just be safe. I don't think that's hard. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. STDs are on the rise for the 5th straight year. When I saw the headline, all I could do was just shake my head, and I was like, I know I got to talk about this. Because this is just, it's just, It's just not okay. It's just not okay. We can do things about this. I say this. If you are going to, have a sexual relationship with someone, just do this. Just do this. Both of you go get checked together. Just do that. Because that way it's fair. Because, because here's the thing. When you don't do that, all you're doing is you're just taking someone's word for it. If you ask people, it's like this. If you ask someone if they have an STD, first of all, that's a weird question to ask. But the answer is very likely going to be no, even if it's a lie, because to say you have one is embarrassing. And it makes you unattractive, physically unattractive. So if you're going to do it, it's like that. This is just what I would do. If there was a girl that I saw and I wanted to have sexual relations with her, and she wanted to have sexual relations with me, I would say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to both go get checked together. I'm going to go the same day. You're going to go the same day. So that way it creates transparency. It's like, okay, you go today and, you go there, I'll go here, and then no, just be transparent. Just be safe. It's better. This is just the way I view sex. This is just me. I can't enjoy it if I'm thinking about other things. I may be thinking, okay, does she have something? I don't know. It's like, people may say, oh, it's awkward to do that. Okay, yeah, it's awkward, but it's safer. It is awkward, but once you do it, you're good. It's just that simple. I would think you can enjoy the sex more. You can enjoy the, whatever kind of sexual activity you're going to do. You can enjoy that more if you just get checked. And you both know you guys are in the clear. Because then you can just focus on the pleasure more. When you're stressed and when you're thinking about other things, sex isn't as good. Libido is lowered because you're thinking about other things. You're just, you can't perform as well. You can't experience pleasure as much. Just go get checked. I don't know why it's this hard. And, the alcohol and drugs thing, come on. I mean, just don't, if you're gonna drink, go ahead. I personally don't. I think it's gross. Or I shouldn't say that. I think, well, here's my thing with alcohol. Beer to me is disgusting. I don't know how people ingest beer. I don't even know how people can hold it because, just the smell of it to me is disgusting. Like it makes me want to vomit. So drinking to me, just don't do it. Just don't do it and combine it with sex. If you're gonna drink, go ahead and drink. But when you do that, you can't quite reason as well, and you're just not gonna make the best decisions. Yes, you become bolder. But you're just not being reasonable. One of the things my friend tells me, he doesn't tell me this often, but he tells me this enough to where it kind of irritates me. And he says, he says, don't think, just do. And I'm like, okay, I've never said this to him. I don't think I've said this to him recently, but I'm like, okay, dude, that's just stupid. Don't think, just do. When you just do, you're going in without a plan. Sometimes, no, I will say this. Sometimes you just have to act and you don't have time to think. But when there is no rush and, you're just, you're going about a certain process, you have to think before you act. It's like, it's like the old saying goes, think before you speak, think before you act. Because once you say something, you can't take it back. Once you do something, once you do something to someone else, you can't take it back. This is just so disappointing. It's so disappointing because we are in a generation where we know better. Life has never been better. I mean, there are so many things that we can do. This stuff is just so stupid to me. It's so preventable. But I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just, in total, the CDC reported 2.5 million cases of STDs in the US in 2018. Man, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm just going to go into the next topic because I've said all I can say. I've said all I can say about this. This is just so frustrating. It's like you see us going down a path that is very easy to go down. Oh my God. In terms of human history, this is probably the best time ever to have sex because you have things like, birth control, reliable birth control. You have contraceptives. You have all of these things. We have knowledge. We have antibiotics. We have so many things going with us. So in all of human history, if you were to pick a time to have sex, now would be the time. People are better looking. Hygiene is better. But we throw these things out the window and we just go about 1.7 million cases of chlamydia. I mean, man, that's just frustrating. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm gonna go into the next topic. People, if you're not gonna keep it in your pants until marriage, be safe. Just be safe. And I'll say this. Even when it comes time for marriage, me personally, when it comes time for me and my wife to get married, we're going to go get tested. We're going to, okay, what thing, and we're not just going to get tested for STDs. We're going to be like, okay, what's in my bloodline? What's in your bloodline? What does your family have a history of? What does my family have a history of? The only thing that I really know that I would pass on, that there's a possibility of me passing on, is sickle cell anemia. But outside of that, I don't know. So just be knowledgeable. Use the many reliable resources that we have today. Don't be stupid. Okay. And speaking of stupid, selfie slip leaves 4 dead at India Dam. 4 more deaths by selfie. That may be the name of this episode. No, I'm going to say this. These names are Indian. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. Okay? So I'm going to try to go. I'm just going to go. I'm probably going to go. I'm probably just going to use initials. Because these names, I'm not even going to be disrespectful like that. Okay. 4 members of the same family drowned at a dam in India Sunday after slipping into the water while trying to take a selfie. Newlywed bride, VN, she was 20, died alongside family members, S, K, and S. So the first S is 22, K is 20, and S is 14. The newlywed bride was the first to slip into the water, according to the local police in the state of Tamil Nadu. Her husband, GP, was 25, survived, and managed to save his 15-year-old sister, YP. India has recorded the highest number of selfie deaths of any country in the world, according to a 2018 study. And this, by the way, this is from CNN. The incident took place at Pambar Dam in the southern state, according to SP, a senior police official from the district of Krishnagiri. I don't know. I'm sorry. They wanted to take a selfie at the spot on the dam and they slipped. The water level increased while they were there. The bodies of the deceased were recovered immediately. Some 259 people worldwide died while taking selfies from October 2011 to November 2017, according to a study published in India's Journal of Family Medicine and Primary Care. They found that the most selfie deaths occurred in India, followed by Russia, the US, and Pakistan. Most of the victims, around 72%, were men and under the age of 30. And there's another thing. You almost have your whole life ahead of you. You know, you're young. This woman, she was 20. She just got married and now the husband at 25 is a widow. He's a widower. All because they wanted to take a picture. I've never, even before selfies were a thing, I was never a fan of pictures. To me, they're just, I don't know. I think they're kind of obnoxious. I don't need a picture. I know what I look like. But selfies to me, they just irritate me even more. I don't understand why take a picture of yourself and post it to show where you were, to show that what you say truly did happen. A lot of this stuff just isn't worth it. India accounted for more than half the global total, with 159 reported selfie deaths since 2011. Researchers attributed the high number to the country's enormous population of people under 30. The issue has drawn the attention of authorities, which have taken to implementing no selfie zones in areas deemed high risk. A no selfie zone. People just, it's almost like you're at a place now where people just can't think. And I'll say this. Most selfies obviously don't result in death. Many people take selfies in dangerous places and they live. But there are just certain pictures I see and I'm like, it's not worth it. The picture's not worth it. It isn't. It's just pitiful. It's just pitiful. According to a thing by BBC, this was from October 4th of last year. Selfie deaths. 259 people reported dead after seeking the perfect picture. And right here is a woman in Romania who is a pothead, and I say that because her and this other person are balancing over a 180-meter high chimney in Romania. I don't get it. I don't understand the draw of it. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's all I can say about this topic. Because I'm gonna say this. If you die because of a selfie, I don't feel anything for you. I don't feel anything for you. I feel bad for your family. I feel bad for those that you left behind. But I'm telling you, when you die by a selfie, like the husband in this situation, he's 25, he's young, he just got married, life is going great, and then the woman dies. Your wife dies, and she's dead. Why? Not because of old age, not because of disease, not because of her being murdered, but because of an easily preventable accident. What can I say? We look, man. At this point, if you die due to a selfie, just know you don't have my pity. You don't. This story, I'm gonna say, this story doesn't just baffle me. It kind of angers me. This is from the Western Journal. Now, I'm going to need you guys to stay with me on this. I'm going to try to get through the whole article and then comment afterwards. But as you guys know, that's probably not going to happen. But I'm going to try. Okay. This is from, as I said, this is from the Western Journal by Cade Almond. It's a cool last name. Man cleared of murder after throwing mother with Alzheimer's off balcony. Judge praises act of, quote, love, end quote. Robert Knight, a 52-year-old man from Leigh-on-Sea in Essex, England, fully admitted to the premeditated killing of his mother, a 79-year-old widow who suffered from Alzheimer's. Despite knowing full well that he had planned his mother's death for days, British courts cleared Knight for murder, instead downgrading his charges to manslaughter, according to Live Action News. Knight, having spent 9 months in custody awaiting trial, was ordered to serve only a further 60 days of rehab for sending an elderly woman tumbling headfirst from a 13-foot balcony at her care home. He justified his act by citing his mother's Alzheimer's and a recent diagnosis of a virus, and said he didn't want to see her suffer anymore. Prosecutor Andrew Jackson, I like that name, outlined Knight's thought process throughout the ordeal. He told police he had decided he would end her life, Jackson said. Asked if he had contemplated any other way, he told police he would not have been able to face the prospect of smothering her with a pillow, which makes sense because that's more personal. And that I just added that last part. That was me. That wasn't what he said. But that does make sense, smothering someone is just more personal because you see them struggling, you see all that. He admitted, this is back in the article, he admitted carrying her from her bed and that he would have had to have acted quickly. Knight revealed even more harrowing details to police, such as the fact that his mother was awake the entire time. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. He told police his mother was conscious and looking at him and was in pain, Jackson said, according to LAN. It's more likely she was terrified about what was about to happen to her. He told police he wanted her to hit the ground with a big crack so she would be knocked unconscious. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. She was awake, and she was looking at him, and she was in pain. Dear Lord. I don't... Oh my God. In order to achieve that, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this article. In order to achieve that, he tilted her body so that her head might... Oh, God. In order to achieve that, he tilted her body so that her head might hit the ground first. However, June didn't die right away. Her fall caused catastrophic brain damage, yet she survived for minutes after the fall. Knight's actions caused his mother unspeakable pain until she died. Oh my God. Caused his mother unspeakable pain until she died, doing so only after paramedics arrived. Knight was open with police and prosecutors throughout the investigation, choosing to alert the care home staff of the killing and stay in the building until police arrived. Unfortunately for him, but unfortunately for society at large, his subsequent murder charges were downgraded significantly. The judge presiding over the case, Samantha Lay, went so far as to praise Knight, calling his actions a mercy killing. You are someone who acted out of love and desperation, Lay said. According to the Telegraph, you have been punished enough and you have to live with what you have done. Appallingly, Lay believed that even the resulting manslaughter conviction was too harsh. This is a very sad case. Anyone listening to the details of Miss Knight's illness and her condition couldn't fail to be moved. She said, this case, I'm sure it was a very finely balanced one as to whether it was in the interest to prosecute in the first place. Yes, a sitting judge wondered out loud whether the state should prosecute a man who tossed an elderly woman off a balcony only because the woman was sick and disabled. The precedent that this case sets is nothing short of disastrous. We are continuing to slip down the slope caused by euthanasia, and we're one step closer to justifying even more murder. I can't read anymore. Oh God. She saw this whole thing happening. He picked her up out of the bed. She's looking at him. She may have had no idea who he was. She's already in physical pain. They go up to the balcony, and he throws her. And she didn't die instantly, which she wasn't going to, because it's only 13 feet. Now, I will say this. Height doesn't matter too much, but it does matter, momentum does, help. And because here's the thing, what kills you it's just how hard you hit the ground and what exactly hits the ground. I have nothing to say. This is disgusting. This is disgusting is not even there's no word in the dictionary. I know I say this often, but there is not a word that exists to describe this. there's nothing you can say. There's no word strong enough to describe this. I'm not a fan of euthanasia at all. And if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much assisted suicide. So a person who is, and I actually had to do a paper on this my sophomore year for English. It was just really fascinating to read and think about. So you have a person who is who's sick, like say they're diagnosed with stage 4 cancer that can't be treated, and doctors are like, okay, there's nothing we can do about this. Doctors will, they'll kind of, and I don't have all the exact details, but this is kind of what goes on. They say, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to end it, and do you want to do all that? But anyway, suicide is suicide, and you go to hell when you commit suicide. This is just disgusting. I can't believe the judge said this. The judge. Let me make sure I have this right. You are someone who acted out of love and desperation, Lay said, according to the Telegraph. You have been punished enough and you have to live with what you have done. This is a very sad case. Anyone listening to the details of Mrs. Knight's illness and her condition couldn't fail to be moved. This case, I'm sure, was a very finely balanced one as to whether it was in the interest to prosecute in the first place. Dear Lord, I'm going to say this. Okay, stay with me here. I can see what she's saying. I see what she's saying where she thinks, where she's like, okay, you acted out of love. So I'm looking at this from the perspective of a son. Okay, so I have a mom, I have a dad. On my dad's side, both my paternal grandfather and my paternal grandfather died. He was old when he died, like I want to say like late 90s. But he had dementia, I want to say. My paternal grandmother right now, my uncle is taking care of her, and she has dementia right now, and so it's really tough. And so my dad doesn't really talk about it that much. I can't imagine what my uncle's going through because he sees it every day. Like he pretty much, he's given up his life to take care of my grandmother in her last days. And I've only really talked to my grandmother twice in my life. My paternal grandmother only twice, maybe 3 times in my life, where she actually like knew who I was. I already barely talked to her, but like there's probably only been 2 or 3 times where she, no, she probably didn't even know who I was then. But it's really been a long minute, and I look at it this way. My mom, she's middle-aged, and so it's like I look at this and I say, okay, I could see where it's like I don't want to see my mom suffering. I don't want to see that, but I'm not going to kill her. If she has some horrible disease that I myself am not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna try to be there. I'm gonna be real here. I'm probably going to be living a life where I won't, and I'm not saying this will happen, but if my parents do suffer from you know, dementia or something like that, first of all, I would talk about it with my wife and just, see what she wants to do concerning that. But I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be living a life where I won't be able to take care of them. Personally, my dad told my siblings and I to just put him in a home because he sees what his brother goes through with his mom, and he told us, he doesn't want us to do that for him. Now, our mother is the opposite way. She said, don't put me in a home. And she said, if I'm ever in a coma or something like that, don't pull the plug. So, it's two different approaches. But all I can say is me personally, I just know I'm going to be living a life where I just won't be able to care for them, where it's like, okay, I take care of them in their last days, because obviously in order for me to take care of them, there has to be money. And so I have to make money, and I'm going to be the breadwinner of my family. And it's going to be like, okay, either I take care of you, which I won't be able to do for long because there will be no money, or, I can take care of you remotely and do it, and, just, help pay for medical expenses and things like that. But there's no way I'm killing, especially like this. This man picked up his mother, who was awake and looking at him. In pain, she's probably saying, "Who are you? What are you doing to me? Where are you taking me? Where am I going? Where am I? Who am I? What's going on?" So that's some serious suffering. I obviously I can't I can't put myself in other people's shoes. People say put yourself in someone else's shoes. You can't really do that because you're not wired like the person. And you can try, you can do your best. You can maybe get close, but you just can't quite do it. There's no way I'm killing my mom or my dad. It may be hard for me to see, and they may be suffering, but I'm not going to do that. Just based on what I believe, I'm not doing that. Oh my God, I can't. Dear Lord, I'm pretty close to speechless at this point. I don't know how I did this last story. When I do stories, there are times where I read it. There are times where I read it before and then, I talk about it. But then there are times like this where I don't read it. I just see the headline and I rant. Now, some things that involve research, obviously I read and I do research and then I come to you guys. But things like this, I saw the headline and my mouth just fell open and I was like, I gotta talk about this. But I didn't know. Oh my God. She watched him. She watched her son kill her. She watched her son attempt to kill her. And she had there was nothing she could do. Oh my God, I don't know. This is this is really quite a story, and I'm done here. Yeah. So I guess I'll just let me go back to the STD thing for a minute, so I can end on a better note. Okay. For the STD thing, I'm going to say this again. If you're going to have sex, if you're going to be sexually active, just be safe and use the resources that are available to us. There are people who lived back then who would kill. Just go back 100 years. There are people who would kill to have the resources that we have. We can freely have sex, pretty much. We have ways of, reliable birth control. We have all of these things. So there are people back then who'd be like, "You idiots. Do you realize what you have?" So, if you're going to have, I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. If you're going to have sex, just be safe.